What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I am your host, LeBron Stephen, but you can call me LBZ, L Boogie, Big Brian, Bronny, LB. The choice is yours. Welcome to episode 45. We have a very special guest. New England Patriots defensive tackle Carl Davis is on the show today. Detroit native, had an amazing career at LA Stevenson High School in Detroit before he attended the University of Iowa on a football scholarship. There, he was an All Big Ten player in the 2014 season, entered the 2015 NFL draft, getting picked 90th overall in the third round to the Baltimore Ravens. He has just finished year 6 in the NFL, currently playing with the New England Patriots. And once he jumps on, we will go in.
What up, dog?
My dog.
What's happening?
Hey, what's good with you, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm straight, man. You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I appreciate you carving out the time. I know we've been trying to make this happen a couple
Hell yeah,
times, man. I just had to stay consistent. I had to stay committed.
For real? No, I appreciate that because I'll be getting lost sometimes.
Yeah, I know you're super busy, man. So that's why I just kept hitting you up. But I started this platform. It's called the After Effect Podcast or the After Effect Show because I feel like there's powers in our story. I'm super passionate about storytelling. And I think a lot of times things get lost in translation with athletes as far as if you didn't make it to the NFL, you got to transition to figure life out. Or if you're in a situation like you where you made it to the NFL, it's still a transition. You go from a broke college student surviving off Pell Grant to touching M's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that transition is always lost in translation. I always felt like it was kind of minimized.
yeah,
So I wanted to get current active players on as well to create that perspective. So you all can kind
yeah,
of expound on transitioning from just a college student, not really touching a lot of money to going to an NFL player where everybody got their hand out, and especially coming from the inner city, you know the metrics of that. So
yeah.
yeah, this is a free and safe space for that. So I appreciate you joining, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Ain't no thing.
Oh yeah. So before we dive into your childhood and all things like that, I just wanted to talk a couple current events. So man, give me like an inside look on like navigating through an entire NFL season with COVID protocols and all things like that. I know I talked to Mike last week. He kind of gave me some nuances of what the Bengals had to do as far as, and he actually caught COVID. I think January 1st, he said. So just
Yeah,
talk about that a little bit. And like, because I know you was with the Jaguars and then you got signed to the Patriots, but obviously the whole season was COVID. So just talk about that a little bit.
yeah, man. So like training camp, getting up, it COVID kind of slowed up your routine every day. You know what I'm saying? From
Yeah.
just parking your car, walking in the building, just being whatever. It's just
Yeah.
like, man, it was a lot of thinking in the morning. Like, you know what I'm saying? You actually had to build a new routine. So you talking about waking up a little bit earlier. You got to walk all the way down to the tent. When I was in Jacksonville,
Mm-hmm.
they had a tent down there. So you got to walk all the way down there, do the COVID testing, stuff like that. So then you got to
Okay.
go back to the building and you got to fill out the form to make sure you ain't got no flu-like or COVID symptoms. So
Right.
then once you walk in the building, everything is like real monitored. Like you can't walk in just any door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to find the door that's entrance and then exit. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff that you normally
Yeah.
don't have to think about. So then when you
Exactly.
walk in the building, then you got to get your GPS tracker for the day. You got to make sure you had that on you all times, meetings, practice. Then you talking about the first day in the lunchroom. Then they got these little plastic borders up. So it's kind of hard to have conversations like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was
No
the norm. Like,
interaction. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, then you got some guys in the meeting room, some guys upstairs in the you know what I'm saying, in the lobby and all that stuff. Man, it was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It was kind of frustrating too, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Just going through that every day. And you had your days you get tired of it. And then even, you know, the off days having to come in to do that. I'm used to off days and if I want to go somewhere, if I want to go to Atlanta, or I go to Fort Lauderdale, see my chiropractor or something like that, people I trust my body to get stuff, couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't do it because it's just like, you know, you got to check in every day, even if you ain't got to work. So it was stressful.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, then I went to New England, and then you had the same thing, you know what I'm saying, with the COVID. So you get used to it and everything. But, you know, it was definitely a year of adjustments. And then you talk about game day. You know, my first game I played this year, we played the Jets. And so, you know, I'm getting amped. I'm thinking about a normal game. So we about to come out. And I'm like, it's quiet. Ain't nobody there.
Empty stadium.
I'm like, you know, I can hear they sideline. I'm like, you know, I can hear the checks. I can hear everything.
That gotta be a weird thing, man, because we never played football like that ever since we started playing. There was always fans in the stands.
Only time it was like that is like if you, like, for example, we was in college, you have a scrimmage in Kenny or something like that. You know what I mean?
Teammates on the sideline, right?
Yeah, it's a little amped up a little bit more than usual, but you know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like, a scrimmage almost, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, then for fans, it probably sounded a little bit normal because they pump in the volume, the crowd noise in the stadium. It don't really sound like that all the time. So I think that was an adjustment. And then once you get kind of used to like the game days, whatever, but the everyday COVID protocols, it was actually a lot, man.
What did that protocol create any like kind of anxieties for you? Because you getting tested every day, and like you say, you got to be so strategic in what you do. You can't move how you want to move, but you got to make sure you don't test positive. So like you say, I know you said you just got tired of it, but was there any anxiousness involved, or you just kind of like, all right, same thing, whatever, and you just got consistent with it?
Yeah, it's just because it's like, man, it get a little anxiety just because of like, you said, like for me, I was in a hotel when I was in New England. So I stayed in a hotel. You know, a lot of people think, oh, when you're in the league, you got a big house, you do all this stuff. Like, nah, I just moved from Jacksonville to New England. So I'm in a hotel for, you know what I'm saying, 3 months. You know what I mean? Because I'm coming right back home to where I'm at after the season. So, you know, you're talking about staying in a hotel room so you don't have a home, and then you like, man, where can I go? It's like, I really can't go nowhere because you ain't trying to test positive. So it's just like, it was real tough, man. It was real tough. Luckily in Foxborough, they have like some little areas where you can kind of go to, you know what I'm saying, that's right there, like with the stadium and the hotel where I was staying there and whatnot. But,
I got you.
You know, it was definitely stressful, man. Then, you know, they tell you, hey, make sure if you do go out and eat outside, you know, and then it's starting to get cold. So I ain't eating outside. It's cold. You know what I
mean? Right. So you literally was basically in camp mode from hotel to the facility, hotel to the facility. Couldn't really have a life of your own, to be honest.
You know, camp mode. You think about camp mode for about a month. You know, we usually be in camp for a month. Like you talking about that type of mentality for a couple months.
For a season,
you know what I'm saying?
Man, people don't understand. I know that was hard on the mental, man.
Hell yeah, it was hard. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, listen, bro, it's funny with COVID because I never been a gamer. I never really played video games like that.
Yeah, me either.
Due to COVID, man, I picked up Call of Duty because it helped me.
Got on them sticks.
I started playing the game and stuff like that. And then my boy man, they got a gaming monitor and everything.
It helped you escape. It helped you escape what was going on just for a little bit. Even it was for a little bit. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you needed that.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, definitely needed. So tell me this, man. What is your take just on the world that we're living in general, right? 2020 was the weirdest year to date. We've never had to walk through a coronavirus pandemic. I think that racial injustices, we've been Black our whole lives from two different inner cities, but the racial injustices, I feel like we're finally truly starting to come on the forefront, and people of another race were really starting to understand what it was like to be Black, to have Black skin and be Black like your entire life. But also the White House being breached, just all these different things that happen. What was your take just from the outside looking at it? Obviously being a grown man, being a Black man, taking care of your family, being a professional athlete. Just give me your take on that.
So I guess this year is, like you said, it's been crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? COVID, you know, it's just, and number one, I just think is people have more time on their hands to pay attention, and that's good and bad. You know what I'm saying? The idle mind can be dangerous, but also can help bring light to certain situations that need to be shed on. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I think that was a thin line. And so, like, you know, let's just start. Obviously, I talked about COVID, how I felt about that. And then when it came to, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything, and, you know, for me, like, you know, I was raised in Detroit, but I was I was blessed. I like to say I was blessed with the opportunity. I went to 3 different high schools. You know what I'm saying? I lived with a white family, you know what I'm saying, before. And I more so, based upon my background and things, and then we went to Iowa, which is you know what I'm saying, pretty much predominantly white culture, you know what I'm saying? I more so gained understanding, like, you know what I'm saying, on a lot of different things. And I remember I was talking to the person I live with, and he had asked me, you know, I remember, I think a couple of years ago, I was in Baltimore. We took a knee over in London, and we was playing the Jaguars, and we took a knee, and he didn't understand the knee. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is a very intimate situation, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, because very close to me. And from him, like, me and him is super close, you know what I'm saying? Him being a white man, I'm being a black man. He was like, I didn't understand that. Like, help me to understand, because I know you stand for something, so help me to understand what it means. It's just like, for him, he was able to step out of his self in probably a normal situation because he had somebody close to him who did it, versus just looking at it like those NFL players. So he took the time to actually understand and ask me. And so I was like, I called him Pop. I said, Pop, I said, check this out. I said, if I have a son, right, you're going to consider him a grandson, no matter what the color of his skin is. You know what I'm saying, right? He was like, yeah. So if I have a black son, and he has if he gets killed by a racist officer or whoever, like, you know what I'm saying, due to some type of discriminatory actions and stuff like that, you're not going to look at that as from a white man. You're going to look at that as family. Like,
from a man,
yeah, that's going to hit you home, because you're not thinking about the color. Because you know you have a personal relationship with my kid and me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. And it's about just treating everybody fairly. And that hit home for him. He was able to understand. And the number one thing I've been preaching this year, because I think it's been so much division, you know what I'm saying, with everything. It's so much division and misunderstanding. I think that if we come from a place I learned how to come from a place of understanding. Even any people I don't even, I disagree with strongly. I come from a place of understanding. I don't care if you're a racist white man from the backwoods of Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing to me, like, I might not agree with you about everything, but one thing I understand is, hey, that's your background you was raised in. Just like I was raised on the west side of Detroit. So I might have mannerisms and certain things that they might not understand. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I try to preach or whatever, just understanding. So that's what my role with COVID, and you know what I'm saying, the whole, because it was a lot of things, moving counterparts with this stuff. It was just more so about understanding. That was the biggest thing. I'm like, I might not agree with nobody, but I'm trying to understand, because when you miss that, you playing this side, you either A or B. You on one side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can definitely attest to that, man. And I like to be honest and transparent on my platform, but I found myself just getting a little emotional, man, because really just diving back deep into experiences that I went through in Iowa City, or you know, just being like marginalized or being assumed that I'm a certain kind of person that I'm not because of how I look, because I may have a beard and I'm a tall guy and I'm a bigger guy.
Right.
People automatically just assume that you're something that you may not be. You may be a good guy. You never been arrested. You got a college degree. You was raised the right way. All these things, but they don't think that initially. They have to like talk to you first, and it's like, but for a person with a different skin color, they'll have those notions before they actually have interaction, and that's the part that was so frustrating for me, because we've had to, I feel like, become so numb to it, because if we react to what we see, you know, obviously we would catch a case or we may end up fucking somebody up. You know what I mean? So we have to become numb to it, because that's the only way we're able to stay sane and not be in trouble. And that's what was like kind of took over for me, like where it got a little bit emotional, because it's like, damn, I really been dealing with this my whole life. Like we really, and we're grown ass men now. We're still dealing with it. I'm dealing with it in the corporate America. I'm dealing with it in the entertainment industry. Just all of those things. It's literally all the work that we've done as Black people. It feels like it's still the same. It's still the same vibration, and you can feel it, and we know what it feels like. And but we've had to become numb to it, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah. So I agree with that on so many levels, and I'm right there with you. You feel me? Like, I remember being in Iowa City. You know what I'm saying? Getting pulled over. I ain't got no reason to get pulled over. I had to learn how to take my hat off when I drive at night. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I wear my hat like this. And as messed up as it may be, but I remember, because I had teammates that like to go out. I didn't like to go out all the time, stuff like that.
Right.
But
I
they would
remember.
call me. You know me, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember they calling me, hey, bro, come pick me up. And I'm picking them up. You know what I'm saying? I get pulled over and they're like, oh, you drinking? Like, you've been drinking? I'm like, no, I don't drink. Like, you know
Yeah, I
what I mean?
remember you didn't used to drink.
I didn't even drink, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I'm like, what's the problem, officer? And I thought every time they thought they was gonna catch me till they used to see in my Jeep, they're like, all right, we ain't about to catch, you know you're not gonna catch Carl because I ain't doing nothing. Like I done did, I'm like, bro, I'll do a breathalyzer, whatever y'all want me to do. Cause I know I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But yeah, bro, I mean, it was just, I think for me, instead of like resisting at the time, I just had to learn how to deal with my circumstance. Because one thing I understand, like, I'm not in the position of power. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that's also understanding your position. Like, you know, a lot of people, like it's even guys when you talk about even in the NFL locker room. We're not even talking about just racial things. It's just like knowing your position. Like, bro, if you're not the guy that's making $10 million a year, bro, like you don't have no room to be sitting here and keep talking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I come in the building, no ego. I come in the building, hey, I'm willing to learn. Even if I disagree with you, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that'll get you so far just in life, just because you're always in a battle, like with somebody's like ego almost. And I'm like, bro, if it's not hurting me or I don't have no, you can feel the way you feel. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And you know, especially for us as D linemen, play at Iowa and the stuff that we had to deal with in our couple years, we gonna be real about it. You know what I'm saying? And like we learned, like, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I've learned. I made sure I try to pass that on to the younger dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, because you know, coming in that D-line room, it was ugly every day. You know what I'm saying?
Every day, ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, I was just like, I remember I was talking to the younger dudes and stuff like that, and I know when y'all end up leaving, like I end up being the older guy, like I remember telling the young guys, I'm like, look, this is how y'all operate, you know what I'm saying? Boom, because you're not gonna win with your ego, with all this. You know what I'm saying? All them emotions, feelings is good for what they're good for. You know what I'm saying? And I just apply that to life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, just learn to listen, bro. And so yeah, I mean, I took that approach even this year. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I have opinions about things. That don't mean I'm right. It's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, I try to understand other people.
Exactly. I got you. And we're definitely going to dive into the college experience. We'll get to that. But last thing, man. So how have you had to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, just in the past calendar year, right? I turned 32 in a couple of weeks. I know you were Pisces as well. I think you're on 32, almost 34. So our birthdays is in a couple of weeks. So I'm almost 32. I think you are almost 28 or 29.
Yeah.
We've never had to walk through a coronavirus pandemic. We've never had to wear masks and get tested and do any of these things. The world has never shut down while we've been alive. So how have you had to grow or compartmentalize your growth as far as spiritually, emotionally, obviously physically? Because I found myself having to, just thumbing through more books, just really more focused in my workouts, being more intentional about the things that I'm passionate about, just all those things, just kind of turning up my focus. As athletes, we're already super focused and super routine and used to being on a routine and a schedule. But I try to use that time to really just tap into those kinds of things. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, with everything, I've learned, like, I think my third year in the league, my second year in the league, because I was on IR. And I had a high ankle sprain, and I thought I was coming back, and I didn't come back. And I had to learn. I'm like, man, what's my purpose in life? You know what I'm saying? When you had that, everybody had that real moment. You know what I'm saying? You know, hit them different. That was my moment for me, bro. And I started reading books, and I started getting to different things. And I'm like, you know what? And I started realizing my passion was giving back. I want to get back to my hometown, Detroit. Ultimately, I want to build a recreation center and stuff like that. And I just started learning. You know what I mean? I started learning about real estate a little bit more. Like, I got into some rental properties back home. You know what I'm saying? I just did about one of my first flips. So it was just more learning. And then, like, also just understand, I know for me, I'm more than a football player. You know what I'm saying? I know how to think. I know how to go about it. So I was just like, I wanted to keep advancing myself. So that was really my mentality. And then another mentality I had was, it comes from college, honestly, man. You remember those hot summer days? We'd be conditioning, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. I never forget that.
Squeaky, you know what I'm saying? Water, like, and I remember being tired and feeling bad for myself. But now I got to a certain point, where I look down the line, I see everybody else doing the same thing I'm doing.
Same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And that mentality, I'm like, listen, I ain't gonna be the first and I ain't gonna be the last.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what kind of kept me pushing forward. Like, no matter how I feel, it's nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's the mentality I kind of took. And I just started trying to grow my mind, you know what I'm saying, and really advance myself in a lot of different ways, you know what I'm saying, and keep occupied and stay in touch with people that like mean a lot to me, you know what I'm saying, and that care about me. And so, yeah, bro. So I mean, that's really what I want to say about that.
Yeah, for me, I could definitely kind of see where, just from the outside looking in, I could kind of see just in your posts and your stories and your language and your verbs, I could kind of start to see when that changed for you. I could start kind of telling, like, when I could tell, okay, yeah, he thumbing through some literature, like because it was a shift, like, and I felt like it was a shift for me too, because even us both had started having small conversations about mental health and all those kinds of things, and then obviously linking up when you visited Atlanta and stuff like that. But it was kind of like the same transition for me, man. Just finding out that scope, and for me, it was a bit harder because I never got an NFL shot, so you know that did a lot to me. That stole on me, like that did a lot to me mentally, like, because that's all I ever wanted to do, is at least get an opportunity, because I knew I would compete my ass off. So never getting that, having to swallow that pill. And then, like you say, think about all the shit that we went through at Iowa. You know, some things is fair, some things wasn't fair. You know, it is what it is. But just no matter how upset you are, like, you still having to accept it. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it took my process took a little longer. It took me. I think I was in a dark space when I was younger, 24, 25. Like, why me? Why this? I should have did this when this happened. Just, you know, you get a lot of questions, and you want to lash out at the world, because you wish your cards was a little different. Because at the end of the day, you know, you nice, you know, you got the tenacity and veracity to make it, to get that shot, but you still need a shot. And like you say, you're not in a position of power. So it don't matter how nice you think you is. If they don't want you to get a shot, you ain't getting it. You know what I mean? So
and there can be no entitlement with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, sometimes you can get screwed over, and sometimes it's just a number game. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about, like, honestly, man, over my 6 years of being in the league, you know, those camps, you know what I'm saying? Some of those camps, and I'm like, at first, you know, I didn't know nobody because I'm rookie, but a lot of these guys, you come in, like, for the rookie mini camps and all that stuff, like, it's just bodies in there. And you know these, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it just is what it is, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
You know, and I can understand. There's some guys at Iowa, I feel like they should have got a shot, and there's some, you know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But it's, at the end of the day, it's the cards you're dealt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have my struggles in the league, you know what I'm saying? I didn't tore both of my labrums in my shoulders, you know what I'm saying, and fighting to get back and bouncing around the league due to, I knew what was going on, my injuries and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, also, I sit there, like, for example, like, you know, you wanted to get in the league, you feel me? Like, I'm like, man, either way, we was both feeling bad. And I'm like, man, I know I can do this. I know I can get to this next level. Like, I'm trying to get this payday. I'm trying to get this. But it's like, what's for me is going to be for me. Only thing I can control is my work ethic and what the hand I'm dealt. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it just, you know, that's just how it is. And so my mentality, I started, honestly, man, one of the biggest things that changed my life was like, was Buddhism. Now, I'm not a Buddhist at all, but I started studying that. And one of the things that helped me to understand a lot of things and how I view things is something called the Four Noble Truths. You know what I'm saying? And I started learning about the number one thing that we all have a problem with, everybody, is attachments. We attach ourselves to that Benz. We attach ourselves to that crib. We attach ourselves to that type of woman. You know what I'm saying? If you learn how to lose that attachment, don't attach yourself to nothing, just try to, like, learn how to appreciate things. I feel like things just start coming to you. You start getting more comfortable with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying to be all deep or whatnot, but it's just somebody that probably need to hear that. You know what I mean? On that type of level. Because I'm like, bro, that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Cars out here tripping.
Oh no, you good. Yeah, no, I talk that spiritual language, man. I haven't dove into Buddhism, but I know meditation is a part of Buddhism, and I got into meditation probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And at this point, it's a part of my daily practice. Just having that quiet time, having that silent time to really just think or speak what you're grateful for. You still alive, you still healthy, you still, you know what I mean? Your siblings and your family still alive. Just really finding things to be thankful for, because it's certain things that could trigger you, you know what I mean, to be upset, things of that nature, man. So yeah, I talk that language.
For sure.
Yeah, man. So let's dive into your childhood. I know you was born in '92. Like you said, grew up in Detroit. I grew up in Cleveland, which is literally less than 2 hours away.
Exactly.
One thing that I always know is like Cleveland and Detroit got a lot of parallels, and also when you see those top 5 or top 10 most dangerous cities to live in every year list, Cleveland and Detroit are always in there with your St. Louis and your Chicago and all that. Yeah. So paint me a picture on what it was like growing up in the '90s in Detroit. I mean, obviously, we both know we grew up different than the generation now. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have YouTube. We was really outside all day, and we really had to interact because the internet didn't come out to like 98, 99. So just paint me a picture on what Detroit was like growing up in the '90s.
It's funny because we sound like old heads now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Growing up, if you had a bike, that was everything. You anywhere you had a bike, you know what I mean? But no, honestly, growing up in the city just taught me so much, you know what I mean? And it gave me my perspective on life, you know what I'm saying? But growing up, I actually I had the house on the block. I was the only one on the block that had a rim. So my house was the house, you feel me? And so I'm talking about before I even got home from school, this dude was in the backyard hooping in my backyard. We pulled my rim out to the street once I get to the crib, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just like I met all these dudes, but you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about when you see over time, like some of my friends, they doing decent, some, you know what I'm saying? I grew up with some of them, they ain't here, you know what I mean? Some of them, you know, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? And you just see, it's like, you know, life is amazing because you start seeing everybody take their little paths and go different ways. And it's just like, you know, for me, I was just a kid. I just hooped, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and just chill, play video games a little bit here and there. But most of the time I was busy. I was in the hooper, and I went to boxing practice. You know what I'm saying? Because I did boxing.
I remember you told me you boxed at a young age. Did you have any mentors growing up that kind of kept you on that straight and narrow? Because as we both know, if you grow up in the inner city, you can easily get off that path and get into, you know, some things in the streets and things of that nature. And I'm sure, you know, I grew up with guys that did certain things at a really young age. I'm sure you did as well. So did you have anybody that kept you on that straight and narrow as far as sports, as far as school, things of that nature?
Man, honestly, for real, I was just hungry. Like, I don't know why, but at a young age, I just had it in me to know, like, I got to be the one. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my mom and dad got divorced when I was in like 4th grade. You know what I'm saying? And then when that happened, it was just kind of like I was forced to grow up earlier. I know a lot of people that come from that background of a separate household and whatnot. But for me, it was like different. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn different things. And, you know what I mean? I had to learn, like, you know, my dad did a paper route, you know what I'm saying, growing up. And sometimes I had to go to his house. I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go deliver papers. You know what I'm saying? I remember getting upset because it ruined my whole weekend. But getting older, I started learning. I'm like, man, you just do what you got to do. And then
you understand that hustle.
You feel me? After he go deliver paper, we putting up drywall. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was just different things from there I learned. But as far as like that, like for me, I kind of had it in me, but I had my godfather, like when I got to like middle school, and his name was Robert Dozier. He actually coached at McKenzie High School, which is right around the corner from me. Like we had guys like Jerome Bettis that went there, Gilbert Brown, Pepper Johnson, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, dope. Okay.
And so like for me, I remember he actually took me to a Lions game, and it was like the coolest thing for me. So you see Jerome Bettis, he warming up, running around, you know what I'm saying?
Is that when Barry Sanders still played for them?
No.
Oh, okay. Because Barry Sanders was my favorite player growing up.
This was the year, this was actually the year the Steelers went to the Super Bowl, I believe.
Okay.
I think it was there. So he had took me there, and I remember everybody was calling Jerome Bettis' name when he was coming around, walking around. My godfather used to call Jerome. As soon as he heard his voice, he snapped his head and looked. I'm like, oh, snap, he looking at us. Like, he came over and said, what's up to me? You feel me? Signed the hat. So for me, I was like, you know.
Yeah, that was that moment. Like, yeah, this is real. I can really do this.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I honestly, I wasn't even good at football. Like, I ain't start playing till 9th grade, honestly. So, you know, and then my cousin Al, then I had it crazy. Like, once I got to high school, so my first high school, I did a semester there, and then I ended up moving in with my cousin, and he started getting me up at like 5:30. He started getting me ready for like that college type program. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, getting up, lifting. You know what I'm saying? And trying to get stronger. And And so that was that. And then my mom had got married. So then from
And
there.
And you finished at L.A. Stevenson High School, right?
Sterling Heights Stevenson.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished at Stevenson. So that was my last high school. My mom had got married, but I had to live with somebody to get there. You know what I'm saying? And you know how it goes. Sometimes you got to switch addresses. My mom eventually had moved out there, but I needed an address to get there, so I had to live with somebody. You know what I mean? And for me to get there, and it was just like okay, move in with these people. You live here now, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, okay, me being from Detroit, and they looking at me, okay, this kid from Detroit, you know, he moving in here, like, who is he? Like, I'm just moving in their house. They don't know me from nowhere, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I got so much, like, love for them, because, like, they ain't even know me, you know what I'm saying? It's funny, when the Blind Side came up, I'm like, man, they trying to steal my story, you feel me? But it is, you know what I'm saying? But no, and it's actually more of a common story than most people know. It's a lot of guys that, you know what I'm saying, just for that equal opportunity, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I had amazing high school experience. My junior year, we went 10-2, you know what I'm saying? In my senior year, the only game I lost was the state championship, you know what I'm saying? And we played good football, and just, you know what I'm saying, it helped me. I got I still hang out with my friends from them, like, still there, and I'm some of my closest friends still to this day. You know what I mean?
Same here.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, you know, for me, you know, I had the different varieties of areas, like I lived in and stuff like that, and still coming back to the city, like catching the bus back home eventually, like, you know, on weekends, just to come back to the crib, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, I remember, like, in my second high school, like taking 3 buses just to get to school, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would live with my cousin, but sometimes I would go back home, but like, you know, I just did what I had to do, and I know for me, it was like, most kids ain't doing that, and I just had a different mental capacity then even at a younger age, to do what I did. You know, there's so many people couches I slept on and stuff like that, and I just appreciate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had to take two buses at one point too, and people don't understand that grind, because people don't understand how early you got to get up. You got to get up at like 4:45 to be to school by 7:30, 7:45. You know what I mean? So that grind is real, man. So I could definitely attest to that, man. So talk about your recruiting process. Obviously, I think us athletes, if you ever was a Division I athlete, you know when that kind of light switch hit on. For me, it was 10th grade, and you start getting those letters and those offers start coming, and you start to come into your own. You get a little stronger. You get that growth spurt. All the offers start flooding in. You start getting you essentially become a local star. So when was that for you? When was that for you? And then what went into your decision during the recruiting process to choose the University of Iowa?
Yeah, mine was like my junior year. I started getting, you know what I'm saying, letters and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, I remember I kept them all in the shoebox. Every letter, I had about 10 shoeboxes, you know what I'm saying, letters and stuff
I kept mine in the trash bag.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? You don't never want to let because that was like, you know, ain't everybody likes attention, you know what I'm saying? Like, some more than others, you know what I'm saying? But that's good attention. Like, that means you're doing something and you feel like your hard work is being rewarded. You know what I'm saying? So for me, you know, then I remember the reason why I had went to Iowa just because I remember I came there on a visit, and y'all actually played Michigan, you know what I'm saying, that year as a night game.
Oh, 2009,
Kenny was going crazy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
Ooh, I'm like, D-line was going nuts, you know what I'm saying? You had Mike Daniels, AC, Ballard, Clue.
Carl Clue. We was the number one D-line that year. Yep.
Yeah, man, it was going crazy. I'm like, man, I got to be a part of this. But then Phil Parker recruited me, who, you know what I'm saying, I got a great relationship with Phil Parker. Like, I love him to this day, you know what I mean? But I remember he used to just pull up to my high school randomly, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just checking on me. I'm like, oh, he really rocking with me. And then this was the craziest moment because I knew Phil Parker was nuts. And we all know how Phil is. So
right.
He was like, I think it was Kansas and Michigan State was in the office. And he had came in to see me that day. I don't know why. He was in one of his moods. He was pissed off. And he said, you know what? I'm going to get my ass out of here. You know why? Because I know your ass is coming to Iowa. And he just left. I'm like, I kind of like that dude, man. He crazy, you know what I'm saying? But me and him, we built a relationship, and I was able to kick with him and stuff. So, and then after that, I just kind of came to Iowa, you know what I mean? And so the recruiting process, I didn't take that many visits. I took some, but it was just like I already knew where I wanted to be. So after that Michigan game, I committed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and at that point, I think we was like number 7 in the country. It was like 7 or
Oh
8 and
yeah,
0. Yeah,
Orange
so
Bowl. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That was a crazy year. So man, talk about your transition to Iowa. Obviously, I mean, I pretty much saw everything. I met you when you coming in. You redshirted just like I did. I think you redshirted 2010, right? Yeah, you
yeah. I
redshirted
read.
2010. So just talk about your transition, man, because for me, it was hard. My transition was hard, bro. Like one, I'm coming from the inner city. I had never even went to high school with any white kids.
Yeah,
Like I never. The only interaction I ever had with white people was maybe if we played a white team on football, basketball, or some of the teachers at my high school was white. We had a couple of white teachers, but
yeah,
I never hung out with white people. So it was a culture shock for me, and it took me like that first 6 months. I remember not getting really comfortable until like bowl prep. It
mm-hmm.
took me 6 months to get comfortable in Iowa City because it was just like we say certain words from where we from. We say for show and it's going. So I had to like like I would be talking how I talk. You know how we talk. And
Yeah,
people that I would be meeting literally would not be understanding what I'm saying.
yeah,
So I feel like I had to like talk more proper to get my point across. It literally, bro, it took me a while to start feeling comfortable. Like
yeah,
and I remember you coming in, you being a young guy, but you was like a real big, real athletic. Like everybody could see that you was gonna be nice. And so I remember kind of just watching you, and I remember like Carl and AC and Mike was kind of hard on you. Like you used to be saying, like you just just really
hey,
want to see the best out of you, right? And
yeah,
so I remember just I remember saying little stuff to you, but more so just on a homie vibe, not on no like
yeah,
I'm trying to coach you or
yeah,
nothing like because I know that shit was hard for you. So
yeah,
just talk to me about that transition because it was hard for me. So I'm sure it was different for you, especially
yeah.
dealing with someone like Rick Kaczynski. So just talk about that a
Oh
little
yeah, yeah, yeah. We go down fall into that, but
bit.
at first, so the color there was somewhat of a color shock just because like where I was at, like you talking about Iowa, I'm in the middle of the country, nowhere, like you know what I mean. I'm like trying to figure stuff out, you know what I mean. It's a new place,
Mm-hmm.
my first time really ever living somewhere else outside of Michigan. But
Exactly.
as far as like when it came to like dealing with white people, different people, like I said, I went to 3 different high schools. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you had a little experience already.
You feel me? So I already kind of had a little bit. So I know my slang. You know what I'm saying, and everything. But then I know how to communicate effectively.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying,
yeah,
to where I didn't come off a certain type of way. You know what I mean?
exactly,
And that's
right,
just honestly just part of being a black man in America. You know what I'm saying? You gotta
exactly,
have that dual citizenship. I like to call it. You know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly.
So
You gotta have it.
yeah, so then when the hardest thing there was just like, man, honestly, just trying to figure out what was expected of me. You know what I'm saying? We coming in
Yeah,
and conditioning hard. You know what I mean? But the thing that made us, and I know y'all know this, but like my class I came in with, we were so cool. Like
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what
There
I'm
was
saying? Devontae, Chris Kersey, you know what I'm
Don
saying?
Shumpert,
Everybody,
all those guys.
yeah, everybody. You know what I'm saying? And we like Marcus Coker, like we all ended up just like sticking together. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Y'all
And
did have a really close blind. I noticed that. I noticed that. Like as I got older, I
yeah.
noticed that y'all was really tight.
Yeah, and it was just like
Yeah.
it just kind of like got us through. You know what I'm saying? So me and Cavante, like, well, it was actually me and Anthony Ferguson. We was roommates when I was in the dorm. But when we moved out, me and Cavante moved in. We was roommates all through college. He was from
Okay.
Pontiac, Michigan. I was from Detroit, so we can make that drive together. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So it was like, okay, we both from the crib. You know what I'm saying? And everything. So it was like that was something that kind of that helped me.
yeah, yeah.
And but like, man, you talking about a hell of a D line coming in, and you got, AC, how, and we all know how loud Mike is, you know what I'm saying? Mike,
Right, right,
Mike trying to prove he the man, Mike Diesel, you feel me? So I'm like,
right.
he talking crazy, so I'm learning. But then on top of that, like, not just the conditioning part and like just trying to get stronger, it's like every day, like getting up, I'm like, man, I remember my freshman year, man, I'm like, hey, man, I'm about to go back home. But then I thought, I'm like, man, ain't no going home. I really had to
Yeah,
I'm like, man, it's no going home. I'm
yeah.
like,
That shit is hard, man. People don't understand what that transition is like. That shit is hard.
people don't understand that
It's
transition.
a
Like, you
full
know what
time.
I'm saying?
It's a full time and overtime job, man. You go from a high
Full
school
time
student
and overtime.
to you got learning center hours, you got training table, you got tutoring meetings, you still got to go to class, you got special teams meetings, you got D-line meetings, you got practice, and you got to watch tape, and you got to do your homework, and then it's already 11 o'clock, and you got to do the same thing the next day. Like people don't understand what that grind is like, man.
Yeah. People don't, it's funny. They just see it as a game. But once you get to college, it's no longer just a game. It's no longer a game. Like, it's a full-time and overtime job, as you say.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you commit. You talking about, you got guys chugging shake trying to make weight. You know what I mean? And you seeing all type of stuff. You know what I mean? And like, for me, I was a heavy guy, so I had to do extra conditioning all the time. I remember after practice, David standing in everybody. I'm like, oh, I gotta run, and I'm tired of practice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like pissed off, but I'm like, man, it gets to a certain point when you just become numb. You just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's just day after day after day. You know what I'm saying? And then you get older and then you love it easier and whatnot. But for me coming in, man, it was just trying to honestly trying to keep up.
Right.
I don't know what drill is this. What am I expecting of me? I mean, it's a YouTube video of Coach K really ripping it to me. You know what I'm saying? Because we're doing the shed drill, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't even know what read the hat was. All I knew was get upfield.
Exactly. Me too.
You talking about read the hat? I'm like, what do you this is foreign language. You talking about read the hat? Explain. You know what I mean? Like, what is read the hat?
Too, bro.
You know what I mean?
And I remember, bro, like I thought about leaving too at the beginning because I'm like so y'all want me to read a hat, so I can't move until I see him move. Like, because I was a speed dude. I was a stand-up linebacker. So I use my speed for everything. So I'm always getting off the line before the offensive lineman. Like, you telling me that I can't move and I gotta read his head, I can't move. So it felt like the dumbest shit ever. Like that's gonna slow me down. That's gonna slow me down. I ain't gonna be able to use my speed. I ain't gonna be able to use my exposure. So I know that was hard for you because it was hard for me. I think it's hard for every guy because you're not used to playing football that way.
Yeah, you talking about a reach block and the cutoff block. I'm like, I never heard this. I'm like, this guy crossed my face, I'm going underneath. You feel me?
Exactly.
And that's what I did. And every time I make a couple plays and I'm getting cussed out, Carl, you mother, get out. And I'm like, I'm confused. What did I do wrong? Like, you know what I'm saying? That was there. It was definitely, that was tough because it was like every day of feeling like you're doing something wrong kind of mentally wears on you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It definitely pounds at your head. And I remember I was just being happy for you and all the other guys that y'all played that you played with. After Rick Kaczynski left and you all being able to really, really be coached by Reese Morgan and to see you ascend and have the 2014 year that you had, all Big Ten player, things like that. I was happy for you and all those other guys, man, because I had to navigate 4.5 years of dealing with the shit that we dealt with in that D-line room with Rick Kaczynski, man. That shit would have you going nuts. You would be ready to fuck somebody up, fuck him up, whatever. And I was happy for you and your class and all the younger guys because y'all only had to deal with it for like a year or 2 years because he left at the end of my senior year. But I just think that I felt like he abused his position of power. He knew that he got all these guys from the inner city. We all trying to make it. So he knew that he could say anything to us. And I can't really remember if he said any personal shit to you. I'm sure he did. He said things. He said personal things to everybody. But I just felt like a lot of that shit just crossed the line. Like, you saying you yelling personal shit to a 19, 20-year-old who's still trying to find his way and still trying to be respectful at the same time without popping off on you. Like, you wouldn't talk like that if we was outside of this facility. So why talk to us like that when we just trying to learn, we trying to be better, we trying to take care of our families, all these things. Even though I'm in my 30s now, I'm over it, but I just felt like he abused that shit. Like, bro, like, you saying personal things to 19, 20-year-olds, like, of course that shit gonna stick in their head. Of course they're gonna lose a little bit of confidence. Of course, you know what I mean? We still trying to find ourselves as young men, like, especially it coming from a white guy who never even played D-line. It was an offensive line. You know what I mean? So just speak to that a little bit because I remember, and I'm not gonna even repeat some of the things that I heard him say to the greats, to the Adrian Claibornes and the Carl Kluges and the Ballards and the Mike Daniels. But it's just, I was so happy for y'all that y'all only had to experience that for a year or two, and then you got to get a different experience with Reese Morgan, I'm sure. So just talk about some similarities with that.
So yeah, I mean, you talking about the only thing that got me, I think, through that is that some days used to be funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about, when he come in, flipping the board and stuff like that. I'm trying, so I'm like, I can't wait to get like we about to make a comedy show of this. Like, we already got to deal with this, so we gonna laugh at it. You feel me?
Right.
And then it's funny because the DBs would come through and hear it over, like, oh shit, what's going on? I'm like, he had one of them days, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
like, and then we'd go by and quote his stuff, later on, just to, because
that's the only way you could get through it, is to make fun of it.
Yeah, you had to laugh through it, man. It's like laughing at your pain, but
yeah,
it was definitely like, you talking about mentally tough, and you know what I'm saying? And it's funny because, understanding both sides, it'd be some people that was going to sit here and say, well, it obviously made you guys tougher and all that type of stuff. You see the type of stuff that produced that. I'm like, nah, it wasn't really him. It was the stuff we had in us, because it's like, bro, we can't go home. There's nothing to go home to. Like, it's like our mentality is like make it or die almost. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so it's like, yeah, it's not that made us tougher dealing with him. Like, you know what I mean? It was just that was just another obstacle to overcome. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
it was a whole other obstacle.
Yeah. And honestly, when he left, I was like, I felt more comfortable being in the facility. I'm talking about once he left and we went 4-8. I just like, man,
2012.
Yeah. And I had a different mentality. I'm like, listen, like, Carl, you either gonna do this or you're not. Like, I got tired of being last in conditioning. You know what I'm saying? I get tired of getting cussed out. You know what I mean? Just because, like, I came in a heavy guy. I came in 340. So I had to, like, most guys in Iowa come in underweight. I came in overweight.
Right, undersized, yeah.
Like ran me to death now. You know what I'm saying? And I finally started shaping up. And I remember, man.
Yeah, I remember.
This is when we was in the old building. You know what I'm saying? Before we transitioned, I didn't transition to the new building until my last year. But I remember, man, like every day, I already didn't go out, but this particular semester, I did not go out one time. Cavante was my roommate, and I was always either at the crib. I was like meditating in the crib then, like I had to. Like I was meditating in the crib, or I was at the facility riding a bike, or doing some extra lifts. Saturday, I was going in doing some work. Like, these coaches is gonna see my face, they're gonna see me grinding, and it's gonna show. I remember I broke the hang clean record that year. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I just kept getting stronger. I'm like, man, I'm really doing this, but I'm like, okay, I'm strong, but how this is gonna transition to football? Then I remember my power just went up, and next, I'm blowing guys off the ball. I'm like, oh shit, I'm really doing this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Consistently. I remember wrecking practices, talking about we can't get a pass off. Coach is pissed off. I'm like, I'm doing a good job. You feel me?
That switch, that switch hit for you. I can tell watching your game, you start getting a bunch of TFLs. I'm like, hey, balling out there. Like,
so it was a hell of a feeling. You know what I'm saying? But even still, then, like, even with myself, I felt like I underachieved more. Like, now that I know myself now, like you always want to beat yourself up. It's like, oh, if I knew what I knew now, but you can't really make room for growth. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like, I did what I was supposed to do. I got to where I wanted to get, but not how I wanted to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had aspirations of getting my All-American on the wall and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it just, it just didn't work out that way for me. You know what I'm saying? I definitely worked my ass off, and I did. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But But like going back though, like, like I said, I was appreciative that I didn't have to come in and deal with Coach K and see his face every day. Just the anxiety I felt, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Also, I felt coming in the building.
Every day walking into the building. I remember I used to pull up to the facility like, and my mood would change. Like, oh fuck, like because you never knew what you was gonna have to deal with. You never knew what was gonna be said to you. And I was a guy never was on academic probation, never was arrested, or never missed no lifts. Always did everything perfect, and I still felt like that. You know what I mean? So like, I could only. That's why it's like I had graduated and left, but I was just so happy for you and your class and all the guys under you, because I know what that was like for y'all. Like you said, I know your mood was probably good walking into the building, knowing that you don't have to deal with no shit like that.
Like you talking about when I wanted to come into the building. To come in the building, going in the coach's office. What's up, Coach Parker? Hey, let's watch some film. Help me to understand this. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm talking about, hey, I'm going in. I go even talk to Coach Doyle sometimes. I'm like, Coach, I'm trying to get stronger with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? How can I get better? You know what I'm saying? And like getting that assistance there and whatnot. So, but my thing, like I said, my whole issue was like Coach K. And I started
the personal shit. Like I feel like there's no room in coaching for that kind of shit. Like at all.
And the funniest thing though, like, 'cause I want to relive a funny moment right now. I ain't gonna say the names, but I remember, I don't know if you was you there for opposite day with Coach K?
Opposite day?
Okay, so you wasn't there. So it was a day, right? So apparently Coach K watched film and we did everything opposit was said. So he said, all right, since you assholes want to do everything that's the opposite of what's it.
Oh no, I think I was there.
Oh yeah, he was
I think I
opposite.
was
So
there.
I remember he got to me, he was like, Carl, we need you to gain weight. I'm like, damn. But he told somebody, he said, hey, stay at Iowa. We really want you here. I'm like, oh, it's opposite. He really wants you to, he don't even want you here, bro. Like, that's,
right.
You know what
right.
that do to a person, like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And of course, that's like compared to what we heard, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, talking about, like, I remember my freshman year, he telling me, look, hey, if I can't keep up, he gonna put my ass on a Greyhound back to Detroit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm just ignoring. I'm just like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta ignore shit like that, man.
It ain't even like, you can, like I said, it's a video clip on YouTube of him snapping on me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't got no problem talking about it. But you know, but I mean, now we look at it now, it was bad times and good times. You know, it's like
it's like now we're older, so now we can talk about it and laugh at it. But I remember interviewing Desmond Moses. He played in the league for about 6 years, and he was just like, we can talk and laugh about it now, but back in those moments, like that shit wasn't funny.
It was painful. It was painful.
Right.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
shit wasn't funny enough.
You know, I can sit there and talk to, like, you know, my classmates, you know, that came in my class, and they would repeat some stuff he was saying, we'll laugh, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, you know, it's just funny. Like, it's funny stuff now, but it was painful.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't funny back then, man. Let me ask you this, because I know that you were with Jacksonville last year. You was on the practice squad then before you got moved up to New England. Now, I know it's been a lot of controversy because the Jaguars hired Chris Doyle after like 8 months after, you know, he parted ways with Iowa, from all those guys coming out about their stories. And so I just kind of want your take on that, man, because I tell guys all the time, people always try to paint this narrative on Chris Doyle, and I think you got to go individually based, right? Because my experience with him wasn't that bad. I remember him disrespecting me and the inner city of Cleveland one time. But other than that, I felt like me and him had a lot of mutual respect. He really helped me to grow like in the weight room and just understand training, understanding food. Coming from the inner city, I didn't know nothing about like the differences from natural and processed foods. I can really say he helped me. But I can also say that I saw him blatantly disrespect like a numerous amount of guys. And I literally saw him taint or mess up guys' experience at Iowa. And a lot of guys, if they had a good experience with him, they try to be blind to that. Like, so you telling me you wasn't in the locker room, or you didn't see when he said this to him, or you didn't see, like, you saw that, you was in the same lifting sessions, all those kinds of things. So what's your take on him kind of like taking the sword, like, for all those stories are coming out, them part ways, and then Urban Meyer kind of just being like, okay, yeah, I don't really care about that. Like, I'm in Jacksonville now, and I want to hire him a part of my staff. 8 months later, I know a lot of people think that maybe he should take a year or two off and kind of maybe look at changing his approach as far as coaching young men. So when he does get another job, he doesn't taint or mess up guys' experience, because you know the NFL is gonna be different. You're not gonna be able to talk to guys like you used to at Iowa. This is like somebody gonna try to go. Yeah, somebody gonna try to go in his mouth. Like, you talking about grown men with babies and families? Like, no, it ain't gonna be like that. So, what's your reaction to that? Because I don't know how your relationship was while you was there. So, what's your reaction to that?
So actually, man, I feel like I had a decent relationship with Coach Doyle, you know what I'm saying? Just like anybody else, you know what I'm saying? We had our ups and our downs, you know what I'm saying? And like things that we disagreed on. I never had no, you know what I'm saying, no personal situation. Like I said, I don't want to go keep harping on this, but I had to deal with Coach K. So anything everybody else is talking about, I don't feel bad for too many people, because I'm like, we got abused.
Exactly.
Like, you know
Exactly.
So, but you know what I'm saying, with Coach Doyle, I never really had a problem with him. Like you said, he helped me out a lot of ways. Like, you talking about reach my peak strength, you know what I'm saying? Help me to build myself into an NFL player, you know what I'm saying? Help me to build myself into an Iowa football player, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like, one thing I can understand why Urban Meyer hired him, just because honestly, I do feel like he's one of the best guys in the country when it comes to understanding strength and conditioning. You know,
everybody know that he's the best when it comes to strength and conditioning. He's the best for sure.
Yeah, and then like once again, like I said, for me, like I got respect for him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also say this as well too. Like there was some guys that put themselves in line of fire. You know what I'm saying? We both know that too. Like, you know, people that, you know what I'm saying, just did like dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? But you know, we all college kids too. So like I said, it's like that level of understanding, like, okay, you know what I mean? And, you know, my biggest thing is like, you know, for me, just like I said, I have a lot of different like backgrounds and whatnot, but you know, when you bring a kid in that's from the inner city neighborhood that's Black, maybe dad may not be in his life, you know what I'm saying? Probably live with grandma, you know what I'm saying? You gotta understand who you're recruiting, because you're setting these guys up for failure if you're not pairing them with a certain type of guy, you know what I'm saying? That can help them paint the way. And if you coming in and you got a white man, whoever it is, I don't care what coach it is, screaming at them, cussing them out, and you know what I'm saying, whatever, and expecting to react in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets coached differently. You know what I'm saying? And you can't tell a kid that ain't got no dad, you know what I'm saying, all this type of stuff, do that because they already rebellious, you know what I'm saying? Damn near the streets raised them. So ain't no man even talking crazy in the streets. So who are you to even come back? So I think that's, like I said, it comes back to understanding level. And then also, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say like he never said anything crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because I've heard some stuff, but at the same time, like I said, for me, man, like people may disagree with me, but this is my personality, and the person I've learned to be, like, come from a position of understanding. I was telling somebody this, I forgot who I was talking to. I know Coach Doyle, he had a very like heavy influence. He was influenced by this West Side Barbell. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I actually watched the movie like last year, and he used to talk about those type of guys, and I ended up taking some time to do some research and understand the type of environment that they used to have. You feel what I'm saying? And it was that type of environment. You talking about like dudes disrespecting each other, like, you know what I'm saying? Dudes like it's like a gory type lifting environment to try to get the best out of you. You know what I mean? And, you know, for them it worked. And then also understanding the region somebody comes from, it's no different. Like, hey, this guy's from the hood. You know, like Coach Doyle is from Boston. You know what I'm saying? And historically has had some, you know, racial issues. And so there might be some things that he might have been ignorant to. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to blame him. You know what I'm saying? His background, and it's like, it don't make it no better you in Iowa this whole time either. Like, it's not like you about to sit here and get the Black History of the Month, like, you know what I'm saying, and not knowing what to say, what's a joke, what's not a good joke. You know what I mean? So, like I said, my whole thing comes from like a basis of understanding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we told like quick to point a person out as racist. Did he say some fucked up shit? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But did he know everything he's saying? I can't say he knew all the time, but sometimes he knew he was wrong. Like, but just like we ain't perfect. You know what I mean? So that's really more so the take I have. I got a great appreciation for Coach Doyle. Even when I was in the league, man, he sent me lift cards because, you know, it was certain coaches that I didn't agree with when it came to their lifting philosophies that I used to do workouts on the side. You know what I'm saying? And even to the point where a couple off season, like, I would go back and lift, you know what I'm saying? And lift with them. You know what I'm saying? And be around it. So for me, that's just my personality, man. And like I said, it was never,
that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I think, like I told you before in the beginning, I said, like, man, if it's somebody even from the backwoods of Alabama they may grow up racist, this person on his own, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you being raised a certain type of way. That's like you being raised Christian and growing up in church. That's your foundation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what your family believe, the whole lineage and stuff like that. So like, who are you saying? You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of education to really train somebody to say, oh, I can say this and I can't say this. You know what I mean? So,
and
you know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because I actually think that was probably a really big factor. Like you said, him just understanding what a joke was and what a joke not what and what wasn't really a joke. Like, and I think that's what he struggled with Black players. He would always talk about like the inner city, or he would always talk about Cleveland schools and this and that to me and some of my teammates are from Cleveland. And like, we would laugh it off because we was young, 19, 20. We're not gonna cause no problems. Like, we would laugh it off. We would laugh it off, like, all right, whatever. Everybody would laugh, whatever. But then in the locker room, we'd be like, man, like, he really said that? Like we really, it really messed, like, not messed with us, but it really hit us a certain kind of way. Like, man, I wonder why would he joke like that? That shit really wasn't funny. But obviously we had to fake it and laugh it off like everybody else would in front of everybody, because we don't want to be the problem black child or the problem black teammate. Like, but amongst each other, we felt some type of way. Like, damn, is that really how you feel? Like, or you know what I mean? Like, so I think, like you said, just knowing, like you said, really paying attention to what's a joke and what's not a joke. Like, and I think if he can improve with that, because like you said, man, you would be an idiot if you think it was anybody else better out here for strength and conditioning than him. Like, we all know he's the best. I'm about to be 32 in a couple weeks, bro, and I literally still do a lot of this same shit that I did at Iowa in my workouts now. Like it's embedded in me. So yeah,
honestly, man, like I ain't gonna lie, I miss the weight room environment. Like from college, like you talking about, okay, let's say you go to LA Fitness now and you lift, you know what I'm saying? Versus going in a weight room with your teammates and music blasting.
Man, it ain't the same, bro.
Everybody egging you on, you know what I'm saying? You get your ribs slapped, you know what I'm saying? You want that because you chasing your personal growth level, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it's like, you know, even NFL locker room not even like that, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, New England is kind of like the closest thing to it when it comes to that weight room, like, you know, lifting, get stronger. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I feel at home with that.
Bro, you just talking about that. Dude, I'm literally getting goosebumps right now. Like, just thinking back on those times, bro. Like, man, I swear, man, the older you get, it's almost like you start to have kind of like an outer body experience. I felt like I don't even feel like I appreciate it. Like, I still remember like squatting heavy with Pat Angerer and Brian Balaga and just and you and Mike Daniels and all these different Adrian, seeing Adrian squat like 590 for 7 reps. I mean, that dude was a freak, man. And had like a 42-inch vert. It used to be like 290 back then. I mean, dude was a freak. But like you say, man, just those, like, knowing it's a heavy day and just getting your mind right in the locker room and having everybody like slap you around and things like that, man. You just can't get that stuff back. Like, the only people that could really ever even understand anything like that, you had to be in it. You had to walk through that. You know what I mean?
You had to. Yeah, and like I said, and then also, you know, any issue, you know, some things are worth going after, you know, when you're an athlete, and some things I left alone. But I feel like any situation that I pretty much had with Coach Doyle, like I felt some type of way, like I talked to him about it, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you
know, it was certain things that just like, and it might not have been like nothing racially, but it's just how I might have felt about something, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, that was just my personality, man.
I got you.
You know,
I appreciate that that honest candor, man. Just on the situation, and that's the main thing. Like, I think it's like a lot of blurred lines when you're talking about that subject, because a lot of people want to take like this overall perspective, and I feel like for us, we can't really take an overall perspective because we all had individualized experience with him. So it's like, I know that he impacted more people than he may have hurt. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely, man.
I think so. I want to go back on one thing for real. It's just like, you know, in that whole situation of like everything we had going on, you know what I mean? Like you said, we can really appreciate those moments. And like, I also want to take time to recognize it, like, especially in this such a divided society, like, man, like, I don't care what somebody done wrong, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to forgive people. You ain't got to mess with them, stuff like that, but you got to forgive people, but also understand, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's you a human being at the end of the day. We all have done some stuff that we might not have got caught on. You know what I'm saying? We all have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about
nobody's perfect.
Ain't nobody perfect. And so when I sit there like, man, like, yeah, I might not agree with everything you do. It's a lot of people, even Coach K, much like, you know what I'm saying? I still recognize people as a human being, you know what I'm saying? And I think I've always wondered, what's their background in making that way? I may not understand it, but it's like, I always ask that question, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I look at this person as a human being, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, as much resentment that people may have for him and stuff like that, at the end of the day, he's still a man with a family. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like Nipsey said, he's like, I'm just a man in his life trying to get everything right. Like, we all trying to get everything right. And you got some people that show in good ways and some people that show in bad ways. But one thing everybody is chasing in his life is the pursuit of happiness. And some people look ugly getting on their way to theirs. You feel me?
Right.
And that's just what it is. That's what I want to hit on at the end of the day. Like, man, You know what I mean?
Man, I absolutely love your perspective, bro. And that's actually something that I'm trying to work on. Having empathy for those experiences, right?
Yeah.
Because you know I've grown empathy for Chris Doyle, for Rick Kaczynski, even though I've had some experiences with them that I didn't per se like. What's been hard for me is thinking about the other guys' lives that they affected in a negative way. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna name drop, but I know a couple guys that in their 30s and still ain't over that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
still having a hard time getting over those experiences. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it's not one guy, it's not two guys, it's several guys. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the hard piece for me, but also me having good experiences with some women as well. Just trying to practice empathy, and like you said, the world is already so divided, man. So we got to do our part, do our best to like you say, forgive. For I ain't gonna say forget, definitely forgive, but I
Yeah.
try to
No,
forget or try
I
to
ain't with no
just
forgetting
move
you.
on.
Because if you
Yeah, yeah,
forget, you ain't even learned the lesson. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like
exactly.
it's like you forgive for yourself, you know what I'm saying, to move on and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't be trying to be all deep and stuff, but it's just my mentality of how learn how to develop myself with the trials and tribulation of life, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, man, I
Exactly.
don't care. You know, we all feel some
Yeah,
type of way. We all feel wrong.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you can't harp on negativity for too long anyway. Like none
yeah,
we only focus on positivity. So you can't harp on negativity for too long. So I
yeah,
definitely feel you, man.
yeah.
So man, talk about like the 2015 NFL draft. Like, what were you hearing during the draft process? I know you went to the Senior Bowl. I know you were great as like a second, third round pick, but talk about your draft process and then kind of try to relive draft day, right? Going 90th overall, going to the third round. I know you started playing in ninth grade. I started playing at 8, but that's all that we ever want to do. If you come from the inner city, you start playing sports, you want to make it to the highest level.
Yeah.
So talk about draft day. I'm sure that was like a monumental day for you that you actually made it. You got drafted. I remember for me, it was one of the worst days of my life
Yeah.
because I didn't get picked up. So walk me through your draft process. What were you hearing after the Senior Bowl, during the combine, things of that nature, and then try to relive draft day. Just actually being the 90th overall. That's something that no matter what happens, I know you just completed year 6, but no matter what happens in the future, nobody can take that away from you, that you
Yeah.
were the 90th pick overall and you were a draft pick. So talk about that a little bit.
So, like, you know, after coming from the Senior Bowl, I really shot my stock up. I had a hell of a week at the Senior Bowl. And, you know, I remember just telling myself every day, you only got to do this one time. Like, every day I kept telling myself, every time I did something, even training, you only got to do this one time. And that's today. You know what I'm saying? And so that was my mentality when it came to the draft. And, like, even, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of leaving the Iowa system, because I knew I would have to eventually adapt to a different system that might not be that type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
For me, I didn't play it in a bunch of systems. Some will work for me. Honestly, I feel like New England works out the best for me. I just had an injury this year that kind of, you know what I'm saying, didn't work out in my favor. But going back to that whole deal, but, you know, draft night, I was in Chicago. It was me, Kavonte Martin-Manley, and Damon Powell. And we was all together. You know what I'm saying? I thought Kavonte would get drafted, you know what I'm saying? But
he was a 4-year starter. We all thought he would get drafted.
Broke records.
Yeah.
You know
he's still the all-time leading receiver at Iowa, right?
I think so. I'm not sure about that, but I know he, you know, as my roommate, I seen how hard he worked, and it kind of hurt me to see how, you know what I'm saying, that he didn't get to where I thought he should have been. You know what I'm saying? But as we know, the NFL has its, you know, you're gonna select who they got to play. You can't pick everybody. You know what I'm saying?
It's a business. It's a business.
But yeah, I remember that night we was in Chicago. The first night I was cool. I know it was some rumors that I was gonna go on the back end of the first round from what I was hearing. Then I told my agent, he was like, "Man, second day you'll be picked early." You know what I'm saying? And like, man, that process of the second and third round pick was so long for me. Like, you talking about, I was dressed in a suit. You feel me? Like, I'm walking through everything. So we in this hotel. I don't even know what hotel we at in Chicago. We didn't rented the whole place out, everything. I'm talking about, I probably got about like 50 family members there, like between me, Kavonte, and DP. So all of us, our family kicked it. So we're at the hotel, and then the second round start, and it's like the back end of the second round. So I'm getting hot, like, bro, because you literally watching millions of dollars leave your pocket like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, bro. To like, bro, it felt like I'm like, bro, I'm about to go and draft it, bro. And it's only the second round. Y'all sitting here talking crazy. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm like, man, I felt like, man, I remember I went upstairs in my room, my chains, I had on a white t-shirt, some shorts, man. I'm like, man, I don't even care, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm hot. You feel me?
You take your suit off and everything?
Man, I took my suit off. I went upstairs in my room. Everybody downstairs. And I'm not even like that, but I felt so helpless in that moment just because I knew I was a second round pick and I know you understand. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I felt so helpless at that moment. And so I'm go upstairs and I like take a nap for like 30 minutes. My phone still ain't ring. Like, I'm like, man, what's going on? At this point, I'm thinking it's like the 6th round. I'm thinking it's the 6th round, bro. I'm like, bro, it's over.
You know the drive goes slow. The drive goes slow.
Man, goes super slow. So then, like, man, uncle comes there. He's like, hey, man, you need to be down there with your family. I don't care about nothing going on. And I'm going to listen to Unc. So I'm like, all right.
Everybody got that hood, Unc, get on your ass.
Yeah. So I'm like, man. So I'm like, all right, I go back downstairs. We kicking it, you feel me? I had to get a couple of drinks in me and whatnot. Because I'm you know,
you got to calm the nerves. You got to calm the nerves.
You got to calm myself down, man. I was hot.
Yeah.
And so then I remember I looked at my phone and I had a missed call. I'm like, who was just calling my phone? I told nobody to call my phone. You feel me? Like, don't call my phone. So then I was like, let me call this number back. And it was a Maryland number. So they was like, this is Baltimore Ravens. I'm like, yeah, somebody just called me. And they was like, okay. Then I was like, this. Then they called back again on the other line. So I'm like, hold on, clicked over. I'm like, hey, Carl, this is Ozzie Newsome, Carl, Baltimore Ravens.
Ozzie called you.
I'm like, how you doing, sir? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really like, I don't know where I want to laugh, like cry, whatever. Like, I've been going through all these emotions at one time, you feel me? So I'm like, how you doing? So I'm talking to coach, all the coaches. I'm really trying to get the fuck off the phone right now because I'm like, I'm trying to celebrate.
Because you want to go crazy and scream.
Hey, you feel me? My homies over there crying and stuff like that. We like going crazy. I'm like, man. So then I got off the phone, you know what I'm saying? I hung up. I remember I was like, I'm a Raven and stuff like that. The whole family went nuts. Then that whole night we went out. I'm talking about I had Mike came out, Prater was there, and we was all out. And my boy, you know, Kirksey and everybody, we was all out. We all went out to the club. I was blasted, and I don't even remember like any time past like 10:30, man. It was over. Nothing. So but it was definitely, it was a hell of an experience and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying? I was grateful for that, you know.
I can only imagine, man, because it's funny. I just saw an interview with Ozzie Newsome on Shannon Sharp's podcast on YouTube. And man, Ozzie Newsome, he seemed just like such a thorough he seems like a really thorough guy in a position of power, as far as he was just talking about how he always kept it honest with all his players and all them things. So man, after draft day, talk about your NFL experience and playing with the Ravens for 3 years, being a part of some great teams, obviously a legendary organization. I know they won the Super Bowl in 2012 and 2000. So just talk about that transition and, you know, just all the different game and experiences that you picked up along the way in those first 2 years.
Yeah, you talk about being in the locker room, you on first day. Well, not my first day because we had rookie minicamp. But Clarence Brooks was my D-line coach. He was an older guy. You know what I'm saying? Had a great relationship with him. You know, God rest his soul. He had passed my second year. He got cancer. So that was that was a transition for me because like I felt like I was really growing in that system. You know what I'm saying? With him, like you had rookie men, you had training camp. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting here worrying about if I'm about to make the team. Like the first game I didn't start. We playing different Broncos. Peyton Manning right here. I'm like, oh, like you know what I'm saying?
That was Peyton Manning last year.
Huh? That was
Peyton Manning last year.
Okay. I think they won the Super Bowl. And I remember
was that an outer body experience? Because we grew up watching Peyton Manning, and here you are drafted in the third round, and before you know it, you starting versus him.
You feel me? I hear him like, I'm like, you feel? I'm listening to everything. I'm nervous. I'm like, yo, this like I balled out in the preseason. You feel me? So it's like, all right, cool. So I remember it was like D-line was like Chris Canty, Terrell Suggs. You know what I'm saying? Lawrence Guy, you know, Timmy Jernigan again was somebody I'm real cool with still to this day. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it was like, you know, I had rookie duties and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? So being
you had
a rookie,
to like carry the helmets and shoulder pads and all that.
Yeah, because it's like you gotta understand, like, all right, I didn't work through college, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm a rookie and I'm getting this treatment. Hey, homeboy, we need cheese puffs. And I'm like, in my mentality, I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like, man, y'all got me fucked up. Like, I ain't bringing
Right,
none of that.
right.
Like, I'm ready to scrap. I remember Tim Journey tell you like, hey, bro, it ain't nothing personal, bro. Like, just be, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's just a Ricky thing.
You know what I'm saying? And he really looked out for me. You feel me? And he was only in his second year. You feel me? He was like telling me like, hey, bro, it ain't even that personal. Just
like,
you know
don't take it personal.
like, right.
It's just a Ricky thing. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that. But it was a hell of an experience. You know what I'm saying? I started a couple games and stuff like that. And then that's when I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I started feeling myself a little bit, and then I tore my shoulder. And, you know, it's hard, especially I was like, I don't even know, 20, 22, 23 in the league. And it was just like, man, like I didn't play through some injuries and stuff, but it was just like, man, it just got tougher. It was tough to play blocks and stuff like that.
It was a labrum. It was a labrum or a deltoid?
Labrum.
Okay, yeah, I tore my labrum too. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people don't understand them labrums. That's the back of your shoulder. That's when you punching and blocking and throwing, like, yeah, you can't.
I had a 12 to 6 tear, so it was like straight down the middle. You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? So I dislocated it and whatnot. And I just remember, I'm like, man, dude, I was disappointed. And then my second year, I had a high ankle sprain. And that's when you can bring one person back from IR. So I had to sit that whole year out. My third year, I ended up playing. And I started again. I played defensive end. I played 5 technique that whole year. And that was so much fun. We was actually number one defense in the league at that time. And that last game, and I tore the other labrum, you know what I'm saying? But I still finished out the season, you know, and yeah, we kind of went from there, but we lost.
Man, I'm not big on myths, bro. But do you think that because of all that snatching and the jerking and all that stuff that we did at Iowa had something to do with our labrums being a little weak? Do you think that? No.
No, for me, I knew what my issue was. My issue is like, if anything, I missed a lot of that stuff. I know I got weaker. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't as strong. And the program is like, you talking about doing this stuff every day, you know, that you was doing with Doyle versus we doing machine benches and stuff like that. And that, you know, sometimes you got to preserve some guy's body. But like, I learned with my body, I need to go hard. You know what I'm saying? I have, and that's my body. Like, all the little stuff, the kettlebells, all the overhead stuff, because it helped me work on my stability. I'm a big guy, but I'm a flexible guy. You know what I'm saying? And I get myself in dangerous positions. Mine was more so reaching out and then dislocating, you know what I'm saying? So that was really my thing. So I didn't really have an issue. If anything, I think that I missed a lot of that stuff. And I realized that, especially once I got to New England, because, you know, we do a lot of those, you know, movements and squat a lot, you know what I'm saying, whatnot. And I realized I seen my strength come back. I'm like, really going into that off season, like, you know what I'm saying? I see my strength come back, you know, because honestly, a labrum, anybody that really messes up their shoulders, man, like that's a 2-year injury, man. You gotta heal, then you gotta gain strength. You feel me? And I'm talking about to get back to the strength that I have gained. It was a lot. It was a long process and whatnot.
Exactly.
Once I got back there and like, everything was good because I had a good camp at Jacksonville. But this year with COVID, it was weird, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying?
So
all that. Then
so tell me this, man. Where did like the wherewithal, like what did you have to pull from to just keep yourself in a sanity space? Because like you said, your first 3 years in Baltimore, you had 2 injuries, you had 2 season-ending injuries, you had to sit out your second year, then you finally start feeling like you're catching your stride your third year, then you have an injury. And then you just keep coming across injuries, but you just completed year 6. So like, what did you have to pull from to just keep yourself in that grind mode, no matter what happened, no matter what roadblocks that you were getting? How did you did you have to tap into like that kind of inner city Detroit mentality, just like fall down 7 times, get up 8? Like, how did you keep your head in the game?
Yeah, man, it's honestly, man, it was all of that stuff. You feel me? It was the you know, the Detroit mentality, like I can't go home, like, you know what I'm saying? But also, like, ain't nothing new under the sun, as I said. Like, I'm just another person. Like, I done seen guys get injured. I done seen all type of stuff, you know what I mean? And, you know what I'm saying? This is nothing, you know what I'm saying, new, you feel me? So, I think for me, it was just keep going, keep making progress. Ain't no time to keep going. Like, why would I sit there and dwell on something that's, it already happened, I could do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, man, just focus on getting stronger. Whether team for team, was it mentally stressful? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was stressful. Like, you move from city to city and you're not performing how you know you can perform. Like, man, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? When I tore my other labrum, bro, I couldn't get off the scout team's block. I'm like, man, this is bad.
Yeah.
That's when I was in Baltimore, and that's when I got released. I knew it was coming. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I was like, I probably just should have sat out still. But I'm like, that wasn't in me. It was, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, especially that
You
Iowa
wanted to get
mentality,
back.
like, you know, it's better to practice than be hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so, you know, that was that. So yeah.
I got you. I got you. So man, you going into year 7. Who would you say it was the most difficult offensive lineman that you went against in your first 6 years in the league?
My first 6 years in the most offensive.
Yeah, center, guard, tackle. Because I know you said you played a little 5 technique in Baltimore.
Tackle playing in was easy. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty much easy. But I think, man, we played Pittsburgh. We played the Castro. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. I heard he's
like,
good.
And then, you know, it's a rivalry. So I'm like, man, I'm coming off, and then he you know, he a vet. You know what I mean? I would say Yonder, but I only practiced against Yonder really. You know what I'm saying? But I watched what he did to people. But I didn't like, one rule: don't go hard on Yonder. He already year 8. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
and y'all had the Iowa connection, so yeah.
yeah. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was what it was. The Castro, like, he gave me some problems. I also had some decent games, like especially my 3rd year. You know, I graded out high versus Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? But it was like I started getting smarter as a player. You know what I mean? Like, learn, like, you know, usually like for us as defensive linemen, you talking about you get a double team hit and then drop the hip, like, you know what I'm saying? So I started like, me and my boy Willie Henry, who was a Glenville dude. You know what I'm saying? One of my best friends.
I know Will.
You know what I'm saying? We was playing Pittsburgh, and we noticed on the double teams, like, Castro would sit back. He would act like he was coming off, but he'll sit back, and the tackle would blow our hip out. You feel me? So I'm so what we started doing was, when we know the double team was coming, we go right to the inside of the tackle. And so, like, I was able to hold that gap and still, like, he can go to the next level, but I still got the B gap.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
that terminology talk, not everybody can get it.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
You know, but that was like a hard time. Like, he gave me a hard time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually that's definitely smart on the double team, because you know that B gap is gonna be moving, and if he see you on a tackle, he's just gonna go to the linebacker. But now
you still in there.
Free. Exactly, you free because the tackle, like, you on his shoulder, but your B gap is moving. So, you know, so you just run it, you go and make the play. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. So, man, who would you say in your honest opinion is the best D tackle in the league right now? Like,
come on now, you know, AD, Aaron Donald. I mean, it's without a doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, it's crazy because we played Pittsburgh my senior year. Your redshirt freshman year, we played Pittsburgh, and he didn't do nothing versus us that game. Like, because I think that was his junior year, or that may have been his sophomore year. I think he didn't start going off. He didn't start going off until the next year. Because I remember, I'm like, damn, I watched that game over. Like, man, I remember him playing for them, but I don't remember him doing much. But then we also had a good offensive lineman. We had a good old line at Iowa too. Yeah. So I was like, damn. But I just feel like once he got in the league, bro, like, the shit that he do, like, it almost don't look real.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It literally don't look real how powerful he is with his hands and how quick he is, and all his shit is inside. Like, he just his transitions, like when you talking about a helmet to helmet bull, like, you know, so down the middle shoulder, then get that shoulder down. Like, he is so quick, like, it's just no wasted movements. It almost don't be looking real.
It don't look real. It looked like a child's play. But I think the next year we played Pittsburgh, and I remember him giving us problems.
Oh, y'all played Pittsburgh next year, 2012.
The next year?
Okay. So that's probably when he started killing. That's when he started. Was
like, I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? This dude for real.
He was different. You know? He was different.
Yeah, because I remember he was in the game plan. I'm like, you know, every time we hear good defensive lineman, I used to, like, watch him and stuff like that, you know.
Exactly.
And I watched what he did to our own line. I'm like,
going crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the year he went crazy.
Sheriff was playing guard then.
Oh, okay.
And you know how good Brandon Sheriff is, you know what I'm saying? But he gave him some problems there. I'm like, but obviously for good reason. You know, both first round draft picks, you know what I'm saying? Or both Pro Bowlers, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he was that guy. Okay, I got you. I figured you would say that, but I had to ask. So yeah, man. Just 2 more questions. I know you said, I think your 2nd or 3rd year in the league, you started the Trenchwork Foundation. So just talk about the ethos of the foundation, how you came up with the name, because I'm always intrigued about creativity. I'm really passionate about storytelling and creativity. So it's always cool to speak about starting something from nothing, right? Start like you started Trenchwork Foundation with nothing. You had to come up with a name, and you had to do all your business endeavors and things like that. So just talk about the ethos of Trenchwork Foundation and what you have going on in the future. I know you said you wanted to eventually get to building a school or rec center or things of that nature. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually I started trench work in college. When I was in college, I remember me and Cavante, we was in the crib and we both was like, we was having this deep conversation about like, man, like clothes and stuff like that. Why we wear what we wear? Why do we put so much on emphasis on fashion? I'm like, bro, I want to wear my own stuff. And he's like, he want to wear his own stuff. Like, I'd rather market my own stuff than sit here and go buy some, at the time, some Sean John, you know what I'm saying? And wear their stuff, you know what I mean? Like, cool. Yeah. So then I was like, man, I was like, I want something like to do with like reflect like me as a D lineman, but also like me and then like Detroit, like, you know what I'm saying? And so at the time I was struggling. So me and him was talking, then for him, he ended up coming with a clothing line. His was called Two Star because he was a two-star athlete.
I remember that, yeah.
And then mine was like, man, I was like, man, trench something. I'm like, trench, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I play in the trenches, you feel me? Like, you know, it's right. And then it's like also it's a street term, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the trenches. So then I'm like, man, bro, I'm like, that's where I'm from. So like, he was like, I'm like, trench work. And I'm like, yeah, bro, trench work.
Yeah, you like how that sound.
Yeah, I'm like, trench work. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, like, I had changed my Twitter handle to that, and then I started making hoodies. You feel me?
Yeah.
So and then I remember I started passing them out, and then people like on campus started calling me like trench work. And I'm like, yo, this joke is funny, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. But I'm like, yo, somebody say trench work caught my ear, like, what's up? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I tried getting my hoodies out, you know what I mean? And that was that. But then, like I said, going to my second year in the league, I had a high ankle sprain. I was on IR. It was more so leading to my purpose, man. And I remember I was like, man, I would love right now to go back to my elementary school and just go kick it with the kids. You know what I'm saying? But my school was boarded up. You know what I'm saying?
Mine was too. They just tore it down.
Yep. You feel me? So I was like, man, I want to do something. So I wanted to get into like, you know, helping my community and stuff like that. So my goal is to turn my old school into a recreation center. Because it has a big plot of land, you feel me? Mm-hmm. And so I've been working on this, but I just been going by and just making little like kind of like mental deposits going by.
Yeah, making little deposits. Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't been inside the building, had people know I'm serious about this in Detroit, even make it like a little 3D rendering, like they spend some money on that, like, you know what I mean? So really just trying to, you know, build the vision first. And because it's a lot of like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of work, like underlying work, you know what I mean? It's just like football. You know, people always see us on game day. They don't see off-season training, camp,
weight room,
you know
conditioning,
massages. But that's how it is. You know, that's how it is with business. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of underneath things to build this product, or you know what I'm saying? So right now, I'm make sure I'm working and crossing my T's and dotting my I's when it comes to the underneath things, so that down the road, because this is my life passion, what I'm gonna do after football, you know what I'm saying, whatever, is try to get back to my community. So bro, like, so that's, and like I said, it came out of me being injured, so that ended up being a blessing. So, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely a blessing.
Using that, you know what I'm saying, obstacle, and then turn that into a great situation, you know what I'm saying? For me, something that I love, you know what I'm saying, I'm always talking about, so yeah.
Right. That's amazing, man. So I know you're going into year 7. What are some interests, like what are some interests that you have of things that you like to do outside of football? Because I feel like once football was over for me and I told myself I'm done playing, I'll never strap it up again. I felt like I had to reinvent I think I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was because I played football from 8 years old to 27, right? So when I said, okay, I'm done playing, I'm never going to play again, I had to reinvent myself. That's when I went on the weight loss journey, and I just kind of started having to look at what I was passionate about, what I like to do, like what would bring me joy when I wake up in the morning. That's not football, right? And so what are some things that you feel like you like to do, or some things that you feel like, some endeavors that you feel like you would get into? And obviously we don't know how long you would play. I'm sure you're shooting for 10 to 12 years. Like you're going into year 7 now. So what are some things that you feel like you would like to do, you know, when football is over for you?
So for me, it was like my mentality, I always wanted to be more than an athlete because I knew that football would eventually end one day. And I understood because I've seen like the struggles of my peers when that didn't make it to the league. You know what I'm saying? Whether the identity crisis or just like missing the game, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, then also learn that non-attachment, you know what I'm saying? So like that came later on when I started learning about the attachment of the game. And anything that meant a lot to me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, my family and certain things that are going to be my foundation, but things that can be taken away, you know, very easily, you know, learning that. So I started, you know, reading, and I didn't know at the time, but like I said, when it came to everything kind of stemmed off of something. So when I started reading, my first book I read was it was a book by Michael Strahan, and it wasn't that it was like not to disrespect it. It wasn't that it was a great book, but it had me to look at him as a businessman, how he transitioned out of football to now he's on the screen. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, that's dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his transition was smooth, but I know it probably wasn't, but he was developmental. So for me, I just wanted to start getting to different things. So when I did the foundation, I'm like, man, it'll be dope to buy my old house one day and stuff like that. And then I started somehow learning about real estate a little bit. And then I started getting to different things, like, you know what I mean, when it came to real estate. So I actually have another nonprofit as well. It's called Home for Heroic Veterans, actually. So it deals with real estate for me because we actually house homeless veterans. You know what I'm saying? My aunt's a veteran, and this came across us the past year. So I automatically just been kind of wanting to start dealing with, like, you know what I'm saying, real estate, but also helping people. You know what I'm saying? I learned, like, for me, I don't know everybody else's purpose. I feel like everybody's purpose in this life is to help in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? We're like, you know, I look at us like the ants, like, you know what I'm saying? We all need to carry this, you know what I'm saying, this stuff or this food to our village or whatever. But, you know, for me, I always wanted to build on helping people, but also be able to sustain a lifestyle for myself. So real estate and being able to help people, for me, you know what I'm saying, is it, you know what I'm saying, right now, that's just a nonprofit. But eventually I want to start, I have a couple other houses that are rental properties that you know what I'm saying, I get into, but honestly, this real estate has been it for me. You know what I'm saying? It's fun. It's like I love playing Monopoly. So, you know what I'm saying? I think for me, that's been it. And then, like, when I'm done, honestly, I got a tall task. You know, I want to cut down. So I think I'm gonna start, you know, like doing some type of training stuff. You know what I mean?
You would be surprised how easy it is. Like once you get, because what's cool about being an athlete is we know the intensity that it takes. Like we're used to working out really hard and giving a lot of intensity. So when you talk about losing weight, all you do is give that same intensity and cut your calories. and the weight just, I remember I lost 60 pounds in like 6 months. Like that, it just dropped off. Like, you know what I mean? And you a bigger guy, so it'll probably be even easier for you. All you gotta do is cut your calories now. Now you may be hungry. You're gonna have to fight through some hunger pains.
right.
But you'll get through it, man. It's easy. In my opinion, just because we know how hard you gotta work. So last question, bro. What would you say is Carl Davis's after effect? Now, obviously, you're still playing, so you still have to walk through some experiences. But from your experiences in high school, your experiences in college, your first 6 years in the NFL, what have been some lessons that you have learned during all this time? We've been in an almost 20-year relationship with football. What were some lessons that you've learned that you would take and ingratiate into the next generation, like you say, when you're attempting to help people, and even once you start a family of your own?
Man, I think it's just kind of like everything I've been kind of hitting on, but like, you know, I often actually thinking about that when it comes to, like, you know, when I have the day I have kids and start thinking about what I want to teach them versus what I want them to learn on their own. And you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, experience is the greatest teacher. But I think for me is the best thing I can say is ask questions. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the biggest thing for me. Like, ask questions, like, and like ask questions. Yeah, ask questions for understanding. You know what I'm saying? You will learn a lot about people, about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself questions. Who am I? Why do I do that? Why do I have that behavior? Do I want to change that? Do I not want to change that? Like, it just it's all about questions, man. Actually, because I think, I mean, so many people, I ask them, like, why do you do that? Well, I don't know. I just do it. I'm like, so are you a robot? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like me, that's me. I guess I ruffle people's feathers sometimes because I challenge them about themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you know who you are?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because we do so many things like subconsciously. So I always want to be intentional about, like, you know what I'm saying, the people I'm around, because I want the people that I want to be surrounded by are the people that know themselves, and you know what I'm saying, are intentional about, you know what I'm saying, their growth, and you know what I'm saying, as a person, as a father, as an athlete, whatever it is. Like, ask questions. Like, you know, I don't care if you an athlete, ask questions like, well, why are we running cover 3 in this type of situation? Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just sitting there, like, you know what I mean? Because your coach might, you might bring something to your coach, and then you gonna learn something. I don't know why we did that. I just called it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then the next point I would just say is, you know, the ego has a good place for certain, you know what I'm saying, for certain things. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for ego. But learn how to, like, control that and get rid of that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be surprised how many problems you solve by just being like, okay, just saying okay to stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I mean? Because so many times we try to prove that we're right. Like that, that's one thing about me. Like I said, I wasn't trying to prove that I'm right. I'll just ask questions to see what is their point of view, what other people's points of view were.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of times, then you learn a lot about that individual, and then they learn a lot about themselves, and then now you know who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because once you kill your own ego, you find out everything. But if you're sitting there trying to battle with somebody else, it's like, no, I do this and all this. Like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Bro, it's funny you talk about ego, because I feel like you said, you gotta know how to compartmentalize ego. I think in sports you have to have ego, or you won't be successful. You got to think that you're the best and go out there and compete like you're the best. But like you said, in some other aspects, you got to remove that ego. And what I experienced in the last year or two, really chasing entertainment, acting, writing, hosting, things of that nature, is because going into it, I removed my ego because I knew I didn't know anything about it. So I was a sponge. I was taking everything in. I didn't know nothing. Learning the industry, learning the business, and a lot of people would say little things like support me here, supporting things of that nature. But then I started to find out. But then it started being negativity, like negative comments, like so. So then I had to, and I noticed that it was affecting me. So then I had to tap back into that ego, like, hold on, like you still grind, like, you know what I mean? Like I had to tap into that ego and kind of get that back and realize, like, okay, damn, okay, so that was fake love. Like, you said this a year ago, but now you saying this. Like, okay, so I had to get that back to really see, like, okay, yeah, no, he said this, but no, he did this, so no, I don't mess with him.
Yeah.
He did this.
People will tell you who they are. People will tell you who they are. They create a blueprint for themselves.
Exactly. I'm talking about family members, people that I call friends, people that I used to hang out with. Like, I kind of had to separate myself from quite a few people, even during the pandemic, because I really started having to think, like, nah, like, but it's funny that you said that, because I had to bring my ego back just to remember, like, nah, I still did this, because I tried to remove it all, but I think I left myself too vulnerable. I was too vulnerable because I was taking everything from so many different places. I was damn near losing myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I say. It's a time and place, and that's up to you to know when to apply it. But, like, man, anytime I have an opportunity to speak, man, one of my favorite quotes is by Socrates, and it's like, I'm the wisest man in the world, for I know one thing that I know nothing. You know what I'm saying? We really don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the reason why we do what we do, whether it's religion or whatever, like, why? You could just keep asking why. It's gonna boil down to, damn, I really don't know. It's all it is. You feel me? So it just is what it is. But it's a time, like I said, it's a time and a place for the ego and all that type of stuff.
That's
we can have more of a conversation about that, more off you know what I'm saying, off the grid.
You know that off camera.
But no,
I think that that's a powerful after effect, knowing when to cut it on and cut it off, man. I've never heard anyone spew it like that, but that's powerful. Like, if we can all gauge a perfection of when to use ego, when not to, I mean the world would be a better place.
I think once you do that, you start asking questions, then that leaves room for empathy and understanding, which I've been talking about the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, man. Well, that's all I had. I thought we had a powerful conversation. One thing that I've been trying to pride myself on 2020 has been a super weird year. We've lost family members, cousins, loved ones through the pandemic, through all these different things. So I just want to tell you, face up, man to man, that all the accomplishments, all the accolades, man, I'm super proud of you. Like I want to salute you for everything that you've done. You know, I didn't make it, and I was in a dark space, but seeing you make it made me feel like I made it. I've been living vicariously through you for the past 6-7 years. So keep doing your thing, man. Keep killing it. And keep growing as a man. Keep being you. It's been very refreshing to see how you've grown. And one thing that was cool, I was talking to Kirksey a couple of weeks ago, just on the text.
Yeah.
And we was talking about how I remember in college when me and Mike came in, like we didn't get any love from the older guys. Like they wouldn't pull up on us. It didn't feel welcoming. The environment wasn't welcoming. They never really talked to us or anything like that. So I remember when y'all came in, y'all used to be like y'all used to be authentically yourselves. Y'all used to be dancing, joking, and that was something that I always wanted to do, but Iowa changed me. Like I had to be a robot. Like I never could really show who I really was. So I remember seeing y'all as young guys. That's why even though y'all couldn't go out, y'all used to have those house parties on Sunset. I'll pull up. Like I wanted to let y'all know, even though I was an older guy and all these things, but I wanted to let y'all know that I rock with y'all. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then talking to Kirksey about that a couple weeks ago, I guess we all getting old because we just reliving old stuff. But he was talking about how like him and all those and Don and Cavante, y'all really appreciated that because y'all was young guys trying to figure it out. And I remember that making sure that I did that because I'm like, I hated the older guys not messing with us like that. Like the transition is already hard. Like, so if anything, if you get any kind of support from the older guys, that's gonna make it a little easier. Like that's gonna make things a little easier. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to show you. I want to show you that love and give you your flowers while we both still here, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and much respect to you for, you know what I'm saying, stepping up and just being able to kick it with us, even on that level, like, you know, being an older guy kicking with us. Because I remember it was a particular older guy that tried to make my freshman year hell, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, even talking crazy to me. I'm like, bro, I'm a freshman, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? God bless him, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like say it. I take that as motivation and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? There's no beef to this day, you know what I'm saying, about it. I felt some type of way back then about it, but you know what I'm saying, based upon his experience and whatnot. But no, I mean, shit, like I said, I appreciate you, and you know what I'm saying, I'm proud of the person that you've grown into, and you know what I'm saying, I've been watching your journey, you know what I'm saying, transitioning to wanting to get acting and really pursuing the things, you know what I'm saying, that you desire, you know what I'm saying,
right.
Really, you know what I'm saying, because I know that's a hell of a situation, a hell of a fight, you know what I'm saying, coming from Iowa, them things you dealt with, and finding yourself, you know what I'm saying, losing weight, you know what I'm saying, going to LA, going to Atlanta, different places and doing what you got to do, man, and even just doing this to reach out and just opportunity for us to relive our memories of college, you know what I'm saying, and just being able to connect with everybody, man, it's dope, man, and you know what I'm saying, I look forward to like us hopefully doing this, you know what I'm saying, one day in person, everybody just going back to Iowa City or wherever and just linking up and just kicking, because man, it's refreshing to kick about the old times, man. It's therapeutic, man, to talk about it and laugh, man. So so shout out to you, man.
It's crazy. Oh yeah, I appreciate that, man. Mike Daniels actually just called me like 2 nights ago, and he was talking about the same thing. He like, man, we should all get together. We should plan on all like just going back to Iowa and just kicking it like having a lot, like you say, a live brotherhood, getting together and talking about some old times, maybe working out, doing a couple workouts together, maybe doing like some panel kind of stuff, just make it like a whole kind of weekend kind of thing. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm super down with that. That's dope.
Yeah, I talked to some people about that too. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a homecoming outside of homecoming, like in the off season for us, and we all
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we can all end up discussing that because that was one of the things when everything was going on. Excuse me, with Iowa, you know what I'm saying, last summer, and I remember I had went back and you know what I'm saying, helped to clean up and do everything, just trying to be a part of as far as assisting that whole situation.
Yeah. You know what was that? What was that experience? What was that experience like? Because I know you, Kirksey, and Desmond King went back, right?
Oh, it was me, Jalil, and Desmond.
Okay. Yeah. What was it?
We all had went back, and honestly, man, it was crazy. It was crazy seeing the people was marching to Iowa City. You know what I mean? And but
that's a different Iowa City than what we've ever seen.
Man, for real, it was different. But honestly, man, I got to experience Iowa in a different way that I never got to in college. I was like, man, I never could have did this in college. Like, I was I went bar hopping. I found it like Joe's place or something. They had a roof or something like that. And I'm like, I never been up there. Like, we just like it was me, Jalil, and Desmond. We were just all hanging out and just really exploring places in Iowa. They even got this new restaurant, and it's like you get a sky view. You know what I'm saying? It's super dope.
Oh wow.
It's nice
Okay.
downtown. They're building up downtown. So I think, man, that'd be ultimately. I think that'd be great if we all found
that would be dope.
to plan the weekend to go back to Iowa City and just have a good time and just kick with each other.
Man, that would be fire. And I know things can get tricky for y'all for the off season. So yeah, I told Mike, let's put it together. I'm with it. Yeah, as long as all I need is an invite, I'm coming.
For sure. I'm on the same page.
Well, yeah. That's all I had, man. Hey, I appreciate you carving out the time, bro. I wanted to just plant a seed. I wanted to possibly, I don't know Jaleel. Like me and Jaleel have DM'd a couple times just on some love. You know what I'm saying? We both play D-line in Iowa. I know you know him better than I do. But I wanted to maybe do like a D-line roundtable with you, Mike, and Jaleel, where we just talk about like protections and some of the best O-line y'all ever went against, some D-line techniques, and just get y'all perspectives. I kind of wanted to do that because I'm closing on episode 50. I wanted to possibly do that. Mike said he would be down. I'm sure you would be down. I just had to tap in with Jaleel, but I just wanted to plant that seed. Maybe we could do that maybe sometime down the line.
Yeah, I think that would be dope because you got three different generations of Iowa football defensive linemen. You know
exactly.
In that situation,
exactly.
I was the transition guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You was 2014. Mike was 2011. Jaleel was what, 15 or 16?
16.
He was 15. Okay, yeah.
He was 16 or 17. I think he was 17 actually.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, man, I know that. Like, obviously, y'all gonna talk the same language because I play the same position. But like you said, like, Mike, you 15. I mean, you 14. Mike was 11. He was 16. So it's gonna be some differences in how y'all see the game, protections that y'all see, and also some different techniques that y'all learned at Iowa, things of that nature. So, yeah, I thought that would be cool to do something cool where we all have. Obviously, should I just be the moderator because I don't know nothing about NFL protection.
We could do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be dope, and of course it'd just be building as well, us building as well. So just planting that seed, man. But that's all I had. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man. We'll be in touch.
For sure, man. I'll let you.
All right, peace.
All right, peace, man.
So yeah, guys, I thought that was amazing episode 45. Obviously, as you all can tell, Carl has an amazing story. And we go back to 2010 when we first met. He was 18. I was probably like 21 at the time. We were teammates for 2 seasons. He's going into year 7 in the NFL. So it was refreshing to have some deep conversation with him. And I am super uber excited for the D-line roundtable, right? To get different perspectives from him, Jaleel Johnson and Mike Daniels. So I hope that you've all have listened and enjoyed this entire episode 45. So I'm going to give you guys an update. The logos are printed. I got 3 different logos. They're printed for the t-shirt. So now all I have to do is take them to a print shop and get them printed and just pray and hope that people will support and support the After Effects show movement. We're closing on 50 episodes. We've had some NFL guys, some NFL coaches, some college coaches, some entrepreneurs, just different from different people from different walks of life. So super proud of the catalog that we're building and hoping that you all will support. So until the next time, peace.
Subscribe to LSD TV to become an official member, but you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day, we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.